Winter has arrived in the Sierra Nevada.
Hope it keeps up. Hope winter keeps doing its thing.
Plus the latest fall foliage update.
Farther to the north, we are past peak fall color with the higher terrain outside Yellowstone, parts of Idaho and Montana.
And how to keep your pumpkins healthy all season long.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. An October nor'easter has killed at least 3 people in flooded areas from the Carolinas to New Jersey during the holiday weekend. The storm will finally move away from the East Coast Tuesday after bringing days of significant rain and strong winds. The greatest impacts were felt along the coast in places like Ocean City, Maryland. We get that story from Brad Bell, the neighborhood where the waters crept into streets and started seeping into buildings.
So with nor'easters like this for Ocean City, there are 2 primary issues. Damage that could be done from the ocean with the waves coming up, and this is a good example of just how big the waves were. At this point here, about 26th Street, you can see the sand piled up against the seawall. They're having to clear it now. Well, this is a place where the waves were up and over the wall and actually coming across the boardwalk. And this is the other half of the nor'easter story here in Ocean City. On the beach, it is erosion and the sand coming up onto the boardwalk. Back here on the backside of town, it is flooding. This is water that has come rushing in from the back bay. When the wind blows, as it has for days on end, the high tides can't recede. And this is the flooding that we see, as much as a foot deep on the streets, just about beginning to get into structures.
And this is some of the aftermath from the nor'easter in North Carolina. Our storm chaser, Brett Adair, captured the video in Hatteras Island where several roads remain closed. Cars and trucks were burned and buried in feet of sand, and several homes were also damaged. Now, many people are asking if the storm was somehow related to a hurricane since we are still in hurricane season. The answer here, though, is no, but to better understand the difference between a nor'easter and a tropical system, we turn to meteorologist Noah Hawk.
We just had a pretty big storm go up the East Coast. Some call it a coastal storm, others call it an extratropical cyclone, but the most famous name is a nor'easter. And you'll see still at the center of that system is going to be a strong low pressure. It's still going to have that counterclockwise motion. So even on some weather modeling data, it can look like almost a tropical system or maybe even a hurricane, but they're 2 different things. And the main difference is going to be a tropical system or a hurricane. It's going to be a warm core system. So that means that it thrives off of those warm ocean temperatures and it's going to have a warmer core. But when it comes to a nor'easter, it's going to be a cold core system, and that's because that polar jet stream is going to interject that colder air to start interacting with that warmer air to have a lot more instability or that fuel to create a powerful storm. And nor'easters are more common in the spring and fall times because that's when the jet stream is more active to interject some of that colder air down here in the southeast where they typically originate. Now they really ride up along the coast and start to head up towards the northeast, and that's where people think that it gets its name from because it's called a nor'easter, but it's actually going to come from the direction the winds are coming from when it rides up the coast, which is going to be from the northeast.
And severe weather also hit the desert southwest yesterday. A confirmed microburst on Monday afternoon ripped off roofs, knocked down semi-trucks and flooded neighborhoods in Tempe, Arizona, leaving dozens without a place to stay and thousands without power. Wind gusts up to 71 miles per hour caused significant damage. City officials said more than 130 people were forced from their homes after several apartment buildings were damaged. Chase Golightly has more.
Within just a couple of minutes,
it was very destructive.
A microburst tore this roof clean off, launching metal debris into several cars and buildings.
This is probably the worst I've seen. I've seen plenty of damaged buildings, but as far as something related to weather-wise, this is going to be the worst I've seen.
A shock to firefighters and the people who were inside.
I grabbed my wife. We ran to the center of the shop.
Steve Ochoa's wife taking this video right before it happened. He said she stopped once they saw part of the roof right above them start to move.
I was watching the eaves of our shop and there was sunlight coming through and I said, that's not good.
For Chris Hardy, who owns an auto mechanic shop in the same complex, he said it felt like he was in the middle of a tornado.
It sounded like a train, a rumbling train. The building was shaking. and the next thing we know, the doors were tearing down and debris was coming through the doors.
He and his workers tried to close and lock the doors when metal pipes and tin roofs came crashing into his shop, showing this video of what it looks like now.
They could have been like harpoons coming through.
I was going to say, do you think about that if you were standing in the wrong spot?
Yeah, it could have been a disaster. So I'm glad that we're just safe at this point.
Fortunately, no one was hurt, but these local business owners don't know what's next.
Basically, we're shutting doors. Like, everybody here is shutting doors. I mean, like, everybody here has, their lives invested into here.
An early season storm brought the first significant snow of the season to much of the Sierra and soaking rains to the Northern California foothills and Sacramento Valley. Tori Apodaca reports.
It's great. I love it. It's a very winter wonderland for the fall time of year, so it's cool.
A mid-October snowfall in the Sierra. Just enough at Donner Summit for a snow fight and to catch drivers off guard.
So were you ready for the snow today?
Definitely not. You see how I'm dressed.
The snow sticking on the ground in some spots, but the heat in the pavement from the summer months causing a lot of it to melt quickly.
For us, it's a great preparation. Where our trouble spots are going to be this year.
El Dorado County's Department of Transportation director says they spent the last several days clearing out storm drains, setting snow stakes in the higher elevations, and preparing snow plows and loaders. And Caltrans is planning to pause its 3 road projects on I-80 near Colfax, Yuba Pass, and Soda Springs once the winter weather really starts to roll in.
It's fun to play in it, but it's cold.
These two were heading down the mountain after a long weekend in Tahoe.
Didn't think to pack snow boots.
No. I actually was thinking about bringing swimming suits.
Not quite a winter wonderland, but still a taste of winter in the fall.
Hope it keeps up. Hope winter keeps doing its thing.
While some areas are seeing snow already, most of us are still taking in the colors of all those changing leaves. Meteorologist Jordan Evans has the latest fall foliage update.
Well, we are past peak fall color in many areas across the U.S. Outside Denver and Salt Lake City, Utah, easily past peak fall foliage now. The higher terrain, the Sierra Nevadas, saw some gorgeous fall color across parts of the west and the southwest. Farther to the north, we are past peak fall color over the higher terrain outside Yellowstone, parts of Idaho and Montana, but we're still at peak fall foliage around the Seattle, Portland, Oregon area. Much of the upper plains, we're now past peak as well, and far northern New England. However, much of the higher terrain with all of the maples turning there for New Hampshire and parts of Vermont, upstate New York, approaching past peak as well. Getting closer to peak now in the mid-Atlantic, outside the D.C. area, the higher terrain of West Virginia as well, and parts of North Carolina approaching peak fall color. Still a few weeks to go for parts of the south and the southeast. We'll eventually get there by middle of November to late November. So far, it's been a very vibrant season for many portions of the country, and we'd love to see your photos here at the National Weather Desk. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans.
An alarming new report shows Earth has reached its first climate tipping point. The widespread death of coral reefs. Coral reefs are essential habitat for marine species. They're vital for food security, buffer coastal areas from storms, and contribute heavily to the global economy. But as oceans reach record high temperatures, 80% of the world's reefs have been affected by the world's mass bleaching event on record. Now, scientists say the death of coral reefs is just the first of several potentially irreversible climate tipping points. And for all the latest weather news and video, be sure to follow us on social media. We also post content from our team of meteorologists across the country. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code on the bottom left corner of your screen. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll find out what the Old Farmer's Almanac is predicting for this winter season and tips for keeping your pumpkins healthy all season long.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. Let's get a look at the Northeast as we head through the day. On Tuesday, we will see a good amount of cloudiness, some scattered showers, especially for areas during the morning hours. And then a cold front will pass through the region. With that, another chance for showers. We head through the afternoon and evening. A good amount of cloudiness associated with it. But then things will start to clear out a little bit as we head into the day on Wednesday. We will still see a good amount of cloudiness, but high temperatures today topping out in the 50s and low 60s.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Clouds will linger for your Tuesday, but it looks mostly dry across the region. Getting into the afternoon, just a peak of sunshine here or there, but drier air is going to work its way in, and it will brighten up on Wednesday, feeling obviously a little bit cooler as well with that drier air. Now, temperatures will have a chance to warm up a bit for Tuesday, upper 60s, low 70s, but we'll see those numbers dropping as we get into your Wednesday afternoon, likely only in the 60s except further south.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins here with your southeast forecast. High pressure is settling into the southeast. This will keep our weather pattern quiet with only stray shower chance along the Carolinas and east coast of Florida heading through Wednesday. Mostly sunny conditions for the rest of the region. Afternoon highs on Tuesday ranging anywhere from the 70s across the Carolinas to the 80s across most of central and south Florida. Mid to upper 80s along the northern Gulf coast with the upper 80s in northern Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Monday brought more nor'easter waves and wind. This was the scene in southern New England. And this poor broken tree in Warwick, Rhode Island was a casualty of the weather. Now to western Montana, where snowfall inspired plenty of excitement for this pooch, who apparently likes to keep things cool.
Listen to Off the Radar, winner of the National Headliner Award for Best Information Podcast.
The Blue Ridge Parkway is common with leaf peepers this time of year. The road runs nearly 500 miles from Virginia through the Carolinas. Meteorologist Julia Haley takes us there to check in on the colors of this year's foliage.
When the leaves start to turn, the 469-mile drive along the Blue Ridge Parkway becomes a ribbon of red, gold, and amber, winding through the heart of the Appalachians.
I'm from New Jersey, but I'm visiting my friend Ben here.
And I live in Durham with my wife.
I'm from Asheville. I'm from around here.
And I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
I came from Ocean Isle Beach.
I'm originally from Ethiopia, but I live in Minnesota.
And from every direction, travelers chase color, cool air, and the kind of views that make you pull over just to take it all in.
It's definitely my favorite season. I love the cool air, the cool mornings, the cool nights, and just the leaves changing color. It's always really beautiful.
Yeah, especially here in North Carolina. I'm not used to the warm summers, so it's great to just get back down to where I'm comfortable, and this is about as good as you can get, I think. I love it.
Every overlook offers a new view worth stopping for.
It seemed like a really beautiful place, so I thought it'd be nice to see in the fall time.
It's beautiful, really. I just love all the mountains up here.
Yeah, you can definitely see the color change.
I saw like neon pink and purple in these bushes, and I've never seen that before.
The views have been really incredible, just like really breathtaking. The weather is like perfect.
And North Carolina has one of the longest leaf seasons in the country, so you can start enjoying those peak leaves now at higher elevations or in a few weeks at lower elevations.
And since 1792, the Old Farmer's Almanac has been helping people, especially farmers, get ready for the season ahead. The 2026 edition has been released, so meteorologist Emily Gracie sat down with their editor-in-chief to find out what they are predicting for the upcoming winter season.
So we are saying that winter is going to be colder than normal in the Appalachians and then even through the southeast and Florida. And when we say warmer than normal, of course, that might only be a few degrees rather in temperature difference, but that can make a big difference. Also colder westward across the Ohio Valley, and then sort of normal to near normal temperature-wise for the rest of the U.S. Thinking about precipitation, except for Florida, we're calling for below normal southern high plains, which is, in the northern part of the U.S., intermountain region, which is really the western mountains, and even the desert southwest. And again, there, if you have a couple of inches of rainfall, that is well above normal. So we're just saying that it's going to be a bit wetter.
Do you ever go back and look at some really old editions of the almanac? And is there stuff in there where you're like, whoa, that is outdated?
I do go back and look at them all the time.
Oh,
and as a woman, you will find a lot of comments about finding a good wife, and a good wife was a hard worker and someone who didn't talk a lot, So there can be some offenses. I think one of the most enduring things when I go back and look is that the farmers and the growers of old understood the importance of soil and the way we treat our soil. Back then a homestead would have, of course, had livestock and manure and chickens, and rotate crops was a big thing. And now, we're sort of going back to that because we're understanding that we've overused our soil. And so I think you see these trends come back around. So it's fascinating to go back and be like, these guys were really paying attention to soil, and so because they knew, that's the only way to make your farm resilient through rain or drought or whatever else might happen.
And to learn more about the Old Farmer's Almanac and how they came up with their secret formula for long-term weather prediction, check out this week's episode of our podcast, Off the Radar. It's available now anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Well, Columbus, Ohio meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael loves interacting with viewers. He started a new series where he's answering weather questions people sent him on Facebook now. Let's take a look at what questions he's answering this week.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Andrew Buckmichael back with another round of your weather bucket questions. I have some new questions to add to the bucket, so let's go ahead and grab these out of here. By the way, go to my Facebook page, look for this post pinned at the top, and you can ask your questions as well. So first question coming in here from D saying, good morning. How can it rain, thunder, lightning, hail, and snow all at the same time? So let's talk about first a thunderstorm. Here's an example of how hail forms in a thunderstorm. You need an updraft, that wind going up in the thunderstorm that lifts the hailstones above the freezing level. Then it drops below that as it gets heavier, and then the updraft lifts it back to the top, and you slowly get new ice rings to form on the outside of that hailstone. Now, the freezing level is pretty important. In the colder months, that freezing level in the thunderstorms is lower. So if you're really lucky, you might have some snow falling from the clouds that can still reach the ground before it has time to melt. Turbulent thunderstorms in the winter could also have some hail, lightning, thunder, also part of that. So Nancy asking the final question here, how about a cloud appreciation post? Love that. So clouds are named based off of their shape and also how high in the atmosphere they are. Cirrus clouds or cirroclouds are way high up in the atmosphere, alto's the middle layer, and then everything else is closer to the surface. Stratus clouds are gray clouds, cumulus are puffy clouds, and nimbus clouds are ones that produce rain or snow. So cumulonimbus, the bubbling thunderstorm clouds, brings us the rain. And then we have nimbostratus. Those are the clouds that you get just kind of on a gray day where you get rain outside or snow with those. But that sums up about 95% of the clouds that we typically see. Thanks to all the weather questions. Feel free to go ahead and add more to this post on my page, and we'll be sure to answer them the next round of Weather Bucket Questions.
Andrew isn't our only meteorologist answering questions. Let's take a look at this recent Facebook post from meteorologist Teresa Carter explaining sun halos and how they form.
A sun halo is a ring of light seen around the sun caused by sunlight refracting through ice crystals in thin, high-altitude cirrus clouds. These hexagonal ice crystals act like tiny prisms, bending and dispersing light to create the halo effect. A 22-degree halo is most common, appearing as a circular ring at a 22-degree angle from the sun. Sometimes red is visible on the inner edge and blue on the outer edge of the halo. Sun halos are most commonly visible when the sun is low, either 1 to 2 hours after sunrise or 1 to 2 hours before sunset.
And time now for a short break, but first we take in views of Maryland's Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. We do have some rain across the upper Midwest for the day today. That'll be slowly trying to move its way into the Ohio Valley, but as it does so, tomorrow it kind of fizzles out. So here's a look at what we've got for tomorrow. Got a little bit of rain still across the plains, but most of the Midwest pretty dry with 70s and a few 80s on the map. As we get to your Thursday, more rain across the northern plains, but still dry for a lot of the Midwest.
Well, good Tuesday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. Look at our forecast today across the region. It'll be a sunny day with maybe a couple of showers in deep south Texas, and perhaps around Amarillo with a sprinkle or two. Otherwise, 80s to right around 90 or so for high temperatures, so still hotter than normal. Wednesday morning looks really pretty good across the region, and then for the day, we'll have sunshine with high pressure control, highs from 78 in Amarillo, 83 Little Rock to 87 in Houston.
Hi there, everybody, and good morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. A terrific Tuesday eventually in the PNW. Lots of sunshine, but frost on the pumpkins initially because we'll start in the 30s around much of Washington and Oregon State. Coldest morning so far this season. We've pushed that big area of low pressure deeper into the Golden State. Heavy snow eventually later today over the Sierra. In fact, over Donner Pass, it's going to be blowing snow, gusty winds into Reno, too. And that's the scene from here.
And
I'm Jeanette Calle, meteorologist at WOAI in San Antonio, Texas, and you are watching the National Weather Desk.
And with Halloween just around the corner, we want to share some tips on how to keep your pumpkins looking as good as possible. Here's a TikTok from meteorologist Josh Kozlowski.
Well, the one thing for sure is weather can certainly impact the appearance and the texture of the pumpkins between now and when you have to take care of the jack-o'-lanterns, for example. But temperature-wise, pumpkins can pretty much tolerate ranges between, say, 35 degrees in the morning to maybe 70 degrees in the afternoon. But perhaps a bigger concern versus the weather with the integrity of the pumpkins themselves may actually be due to insects. For example, snails, slugs, and beetles can play a role, and they like to gnaw on these pumpkins and eat them. So perhaps spraying a mild pesticide until carving time could be a smart idea. For the Weather Authority and the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Josh Kozlowski.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.